Joining me in the studio is Mairead Dundas, Environment Editor. Mairead, once again, Emmanuel Macron has managed to lure a raft of very high-profile guests to this summit. So what are the most important announcements expected to come out?
Well, given the global pandemic more or less axed all of the environmental international meetings of 2020, this is really a chance to reset the clock on the one hand and also lay the groundwork for UN summit crunch talks later in the year, both in China and the UK. To add to your list of high-profile participants, we've also got heads of state from the UK, Germany, Canada, Costa Rica, as well as the UK's Prince Charles. In terms of announcements, really a mixed bag in there. One of the major announcements is a growing coalition of countries, it's now hit 50, that are pushing for a global agreement to protect at least 30% of the planet's land and ocean by 2030. It's known as the 30 by 30 target. France has announced that they intend to meet that target by 2022, so well ahead of the 2030 date. Other announcements, a huge focus on investment in Africa's Great Green Wall. It's a project you may have heard of. It has been running for 15 years. A lot of focus on investment in that. What the idea there is to build a curtain or to plant a curtain of trees across the continent to stop desertification of the Sahara, looking at 10 billion euros by 2025. That's a hope rather than a done deal. Prince Charles also using the summit to urge major firms to join a new charter he's set up known as Terra Carta, obviously evoking England's ancient Magna Carta. The idea there being that businesses need to meet almost 100 sustainable actions in order to sign up. But overall, there's one message that's been running through all the discussions in the lead up and the summit so far, and that nature offers solutions. And in other words, we need to treat protecting biodiversity as our collective life insurance.
And you mentioned there biodiversity, which of course is this year's theme. How urgent is action to reverse the rate of loss of species?
Well, I think so far efforts to protect and restore nature on a global scale have failed spectacularly. The planet is on the cusp of a mass extinction event. We've got species disappearing at 100 to 1,000 times the normal background rate. To give you an idea, in December, 31 species were added to the declared extinct list by the Union for Conservation of Nature. It includes the Cherokee harlequin frog, we can see there, endemic to Costa Rica and Panama, and 15 fish species also endemic to the Philippines.
Now, when you look at these summits and you see all these VIPs sitting around now, obviously using Zoom or other sort of web...
We've saved on CO2 emissions there.
That's right, at least, but using sort of web conference systems and so on. But do they actually make a difference?
There's no objective way to answer that. No one formally verifies whether promises are met, although Emmanuel Macron did just touch on the fact that they're verifying what was announced in 2017 is being met, but in any case, there's no sanctions. The French president announced these summits alongside the UN's COP talks that already exist. We know Joe Biden's going to have his own summit in the first 100 days. So there is, of course, a risk of summit fatigue. NGOs say that there's too much talk, not enough action. But I think it's fair to say that they at least help the cause. They put it back on the agenda. They add pressure on world leaders. And when you put decision makers in the same room or on a Zoom, decisions tend to be made.
Mairead Dundas, thank you for that.